What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Off the Top Loader. I'm your host, Big C7 Cards, and joining me today is a good friend of mine, Ryan Curtis. You guys probably know him better as Sasquatch. Ryan, how you doing today? Ryan, how you doing
today? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Very good. I want to give you an opportunity. Tell people about yourself, where they can find you on socials, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me mostly on Instagram at isawsasquatch. Or on YouTube, where I replicate some of my stuff. There is some original content I put out there. You can find me. It's Dominus Infinitus. I've tried to change the name. It's a whole thing to get. I saw Sasquatch on Instagram. That's where you find me most of the time.
We'll stick with that. All right, cool, man. Well, thanks again so much for joining. This podcast episode kind of came about because you and I were talking in DMs about the National Black Box.
Yeah.
What the whole licensing thing with Panini is how that's going to change things moving forward. And really the black box is kind of like, it's like a repack of sorts. They pull cards, Panini does, from like previous years. Technically, they're not producing new cards. They're putting cards that exist already with National Black Box 101 stamps on them and put them out there. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit. I'm curious what your thoughts are and like how that plays into effect now that the licensing is changing in 2026. But for everybody out here who might be living under a rock, in August of 2021, we found out that starting in 2026, so 5 years in the future, Fanatics was going to land a 20-year NFLPA exclusive license. That same month in 2021, we also found out starting the same year, 2026, they landed a deal with NBA and NBA PA. So they're basically going to be the exclusive licensed card producer for basketball, football, and baseball. Crazy stuff. About a little bit later, we had some Panini buyout conversations, right? We thought that Panini was going to get bought out by Fanatics. Didn't happen. Instead, August 2023, fun year for Panini, fun month for Panini. They filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against Fanatics. Fanatics kicked back. Only a couple weeks later, the NFLPA unilaterally terminated their contract with Panini. So about a couple weeks, Fanatics had the ability to produce their own licensed products for football 3 years in advance. Panini fought back, halting the contract termination. They filed a lawsuit against the NFLPA. July of last year, they won a $7 million lawsuit against the NFLPA and were allowed to continue producing NFL product until 2026. So now we're just a few months away after all that drama from officially switching hands from Panini to Fanatics. Ryan, what does this mean for product moving forward? Licensed Panini product and unlicensed now Topps product. What does that mean moving forward in your perspective?
You mean after 2026?
Once it moves over, yeah, the switch.
So we saw it on a smaller scale in 2010. Like I've been collecting since I was 5. I've been here for all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the bigger uglies, it's so ironic, right, that Panini is up in arms about this whole lawsuit because they kind of wrote Fanatics' playbook. They did it to Upper Deck. They did it to Topps in 2010, and that was bad for the hobby. Mm-hmm. Did we rebound and make the best of it? Yeah. Will we do that here too? Yeah. Will that improve? Like I'm a big Upper Deck guy. Upper Deck's my goat. Does the value of Upper Deck stuff go up because they're using game use and on card in a way that the new companies aren't doing it? Yeah, it does. I think it'll be interesting. I think monopoly is bad for business in general. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be super tough. I think, Leaf really over the last 5 years done a good job. I don't know. I wouldn't say revolutionizing the. I'm going to say they've made the unlicensed market a little more palatable than Panini has today.
Right.
I think Panini's going to have to pivot hard, and now it's going to get into this like dog eat dog world of. We've seen it now in the NFL licenses already. Right now, you're seeing these like I'm going to get an exclusive of whatever insert player here. So even though we can't do licensed product, you can't get their autographs.
No autograph. The famous no autograph.
Wemby no autograph. The fact that it's worth money is phenomenal.
Which is interesting because that's actually not the first time they've done that. They had similar cards back many years ago.
Almost every year since 2007, 2006, they've had 1 or 2 a year.
But it just hasn't been noticeable until it was a massive name like Wemby.
Yeah, I remember having a redemption, and it was like might have been 2010, 2011 contenders of a 49er, like four string, but it's a short print auto. And I remember like they finally just gave me the redemption that said like no autograph. And I was like, neat. Did I just get punked? Uh
Kinda, yeah.
it's bizarre. I don't know, man. It's easy for us as consumers to kind of get up in arms about it, especially for those of us who were a part of the 2010 20 years. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
But
Feels
where
like
we,
just yesterday.
yeah,
Crazy.
I want to give people peace though to know that like it's not that Michael Rubin's not the CEO forever, right? Contracts, if you've learned anything from athletes, they're made to be broken or, modified. Do I think at some point do I think at some point that like Panini could get bought out? Maybe, or they might do co-branding down the road because they do have like household names that carry a ton of weight, like Flawless or National Treasures.
Prism NT.
Staples.
Yeah.
Those are staples that like I'm sure Topps wants a little piece of it. I don't know how they do that. I'm sure it's going to cost, and maybe that's how Panini stays relevant, is that they have their brand equity, their marketing equity that they can use. I don't know. At this point, I wish like Fanatics would go all in and buy Upper Deck and just call
Just
it
get it over. Just rip the
just
band-aid off.
rip
Just
the band-aid off because frankly, I want to see Michael Jordan and LeBron and whatever, insert Stephen Curry on a card. I want to see that happen, and we can't do that until they all tear down their walls.
And the interesting thing is, so that would actually not be the first time Panini has paired up with Fanatics. We have Fanatics exclusive optic sets from 2017 through 2020-ish, I believe. There were Fanatics exclusive sets that came out. Panini and Fanatics were working together up until the lawsuits, and now everything kind of got cloudy after that. But for a long time there, Fanatics, before they bought Topps, they were entering the card scene through Panini. And so it was interesting the way that played out. And I don't know, I just at the top of my head, I can't help but think about National Treasures baseball. I can't help but think about how you've got some massive cards of Ellie De La Cruz and big players that they don't do well in the secondary market. People aren't really interested in them. Even Shohei's from 2018, you can pull low number optics of him. They just don't do well. You'd
Yeah.
expect them to, especially sealed product
Oh,
of
I know.
2018 just
Yeah.
doesn't do well. And
Well,
so
I'm
it's like it might honestly come down to a war on exclusive autograph signers. Just the same as it just came down to with Topps. People were buying the product. Why? Because LeBron, Bronny, Wemby were in the product, amongst others.
yeah. I don't know. I tell people all the time, especially as it happened to Wander Franco. Happened to me when I was super collector for Andrew Luck. I liked it. That's my one of my claim to fame is I had his entire 2012 Topps Chrome Rainbow all the way down to the Super. And I was in Indy when he announced his retirement, and I was like, you want to see five figures go up in smoke? I
It
tell
was a
people,
shocking retirement. It
yeah,
was a shocking retirement.
stay diversified. That's all I say. Is if you're an Ellie fan, have some license, have some license. Do what makes you happy. You're never gonna be disappointed. Never sell a card, and you'll never take a loss. I think it's really important to note. But for the people that are buying for like long-term holds, just know that if you don't unload your unlicensed before that transition happens, trust and believe when Topps Chrome basketball, that's all people got right now, right? So that's what they're paying for. But the promise, the moment that Wemby pajama actually says Spurs on the front, the unlicensed stuff will be unrecognizable in price. I'm talking like more than a 60% drop. And I hate seeing people get caught with the bag. It's the game that you play. Stay diversified. But like the market will shift considerably. Kabooms, downtowns, those will go up. Um, and me sitting on old upper deck should go up even higher because like they just don't make cards like they used to anymore. And I'd love to see Topps and Fanatics try to innovate now that they've got more of the market again, and really kind of take care of people, and bring us actually closer to the game and not closer to a napkin.
I like that, and honestly, it also it's interesting to think about the difference in pricing once it goes licensed. One goes licensed, one goes unlicensed. You do. I will believe that sealed wax of licensed Panini cards are going to go through the roof. We've seen it before. We saw it with 09, 10 tops. I expect 09, 10 tops that is not the base set where people are still searching for the Curry Superfractor. I expect that to take a downturn because now we have licensed tops basketball back in and the light back into play. I would encourage people to not overreact to the switch though, because it may not be as obvious when it first happens. You may not see a massive spike or a massive dump on either side. It's probably going to be a steady ease into it. And we've seen that in the past with other scenarios, even with unlicensed baseball. Like it started off really hot and then they realized, wait, we don't like this. And it slowly started to kind of just fade into obscurity. So obviously it's feel like it's a played out phrase. Don't overreact, but honestly, something that I think everybody needs to hear, including myself, as we get into this interesting time.
On the flip side of that, don't underreact either. So like if you're thinking, I don't know when the optimal time is to pick up like a downtown or a Kaboom, my favorite player, it might be in the next year or two, maybe even a little bit into that transition. And then as you get further and further and further away, that stuff will become scarcer and scarcer, and then supply and demand become a very real loud thing. It'll be interesting. I don't know. It was really, really hard for me. Like I think the apex of hobby product was really like 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
It was when like their hobby boxes, not profit boxes, but like you almost couldn't miss in 2009, 2010. It was a reasonable, approachable price. Like their group breaking wasn't as big as it was today. So like the collector who was ripping in their card shop had to be the ones that surfaced the cards, to like keep the cycle going. Now it's a totally different animal now with repackers and group breakers and things like that taking up such a prevalent, part in our space. But
yeah, think about what the pricing of boxes and cases of hobby would be today if breaking didn't exist.
it would be so low.
It would be so much lower. We're talking probably about 60 to 70% lower because the demand is almost 80 to 90% breakers.
Yeah.
And outside of that, the reason breaking is such a huge multi-billion-dollar industry is because people like you, me, and others don't want to drop thousands and thousands of dollars on a hobby box to maybe pull one card that we want. Instead, we'll take a chance, a gamble, right? Buy a scratch-off ticket for a much smaller price to see if you're able to get, just what you're looking for. If the breaking wasn't there, breakers are this is not an exaggerated term. They're ripping probably about 90% of product.
I believe so.
From the manufacturer.
Yeah.
And the rest of the 10%, they'll end up in your shops. They'll end up people buying them online, and they'll have some boxes that they'll rip themselves. But the people who are big risk takers, whatever, but it's all breakers.
Yeah. It'll be so interesting because the breaking is not going to slow down. In fact, like it concerns me because I have an 8 and 9-year-old son, and I see an influx of women and OnlyFans and risque and things like this that are like getting looped in, and it's really not slowing down. So it's just like I encourage people to like find content creators that you align with, find shops that you align with, and there's going to be noise that happens, and there's good and bad happening all the time in the hobby. And just lean into the people that you align with, and you're never going to be sad.
Yeah, find the people with morals. Find the people who are good businessmen and businesswomen, people who are doing things right, and I beg of you, do not take people's word for people's character. Find out for yourself, because I've met many people who are fantastic people because I know them personally and I know that they're awesome people telling me otherwise, and they've never met them one moment in their life. They're just reading what they hear online. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So one more quick point back to what we were talking about before. Thinking about like 2023 product, for example, even the unlicensed stuff will probably still kind of keep value depending on how the rookies played, because you're never going to have a licensed Victor Wembanyama rookie auto.
That's crazy.
It's never going to exist. Like, just run that through your head. It's never going to exist.
Yeah.
You got to believe that if Wemby pans out after post deep vein thrombosis, if he pans out, plays well, keeps going, and is everything that everybody expects him to be. And if Cooper Flag doesn't steal too much of the press, then it's very likely that 2020 the 23 product will sustain.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It was the best of what's around, especially if like you're a Caleb Williams collector, like
Yep. Same for
Panini
him.
non-autos, like they're gonna sell
Yeah.
for higher because they were licensed and that was the best of what's around then. So
CJ Stroud too, except he does have a licensed card. I think he had, if I'm not mistaken, one set with Panini before he signed to Tops, and
it,
I
it
think
was
it
from
was
it
like
was
the
from the
rookie photo shoot.
Panini photo shoot was the only licensed one he had.
Yep. So
Yeah,
that
it's a weird
it's
time.
crazy.
But you know what? There's a space for unlicensed and licensed. I'm just saying that one deserves to sell for more, and you should stay diversified. That's what it comes down to. Is I'm not going to throw shade at it. Like I just know that like if I am on the other side of the table, I'm a vendor at a card show. It's so much harder to sell unlicensed. So when people
Oh, for
come up and
sure.
they try to sell me their licensed or sell me something that's not in a PSA slab, it guts me because I'm just like, not to say I don't think it's neat. I'm just saying that the room that I'm trying to serve doesn't think it's neat.
Hmm.
So really look, you're really looking for a niche collector who's like a super collector of, Slab Mania, looking for Nick Chubb, and she'll get him in any, I only made that
Doesn't
reference.
matter. Yeah, if his name's on it, yeah, she's going
Yeah,
for
she'll buy it.
it.
Yeah. So, and that's great. That's the difference between collectors and flippers. And I think that's another thing that like kind of concerns me is that, I mean, I grew up hardcore collector. And then obviously as you get a little older and you need to be able to feed the machine
Yeah.
sometime, it's like there's an element of flipping, but I'm still like, I don't know, very much like 80% collector. And it sucks because of the upping in the casino with the group breaking and whatnot. Um, it's just so interesting to see how it's impacting the number of collectors. And when I'm setting up at a show and I have kids in front of me now that are like 12 or 13 years old, I'm like, hey, bud, like, what do you collect? Because I like to give free stuff out to kids. And they're like, only things that are liquid, kabooms. And I was like, like,
That's not collecting.
that's not
That's not
collect.
collecting.
Stop watching the main account. Like,
Yeah,
stop watching the big accounts. It's not real
that's
life.
that's flipping.
But
But
it's
I mean,
not sustainable. Like I'm more concerned about
no.
what's sustainable in our space, and that's why I say if you stay diversified and you know you're living within your means and you're not going crazy on the gambling aspect of the what really is the group breaking, you're going to be fine. It's a lot right now. It's a lot, and then that
Yeah.
shit license and what people
Yeah.
aren't talking about is you're talking about the future prices on old stuff. I'm concerned about the future prices on the future stuff
Mm.
because when they have the market cornered on basketball and it's the first license, it's gonna be nuts. It's
I
gonna
don't
be
want to know the price
dude,
on
what was
first
top
year
what was
licensed Topps
top
Chrome
yeah, what
basketball.
was Topps Chrome on license selling for last year? Like $500?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
obscene.
And
And
Cosmic, I think, was more. And then you had Breaker's Delight, and yeah, it was.
I'm just saying there's no way that the hobby isn't under $800. Hobby license. There's no way it's under $800. And maybe they alter. Maybe you only get one auto. I don't know. It's
They
gonna
could.
it's gonna be the FOMO rip of the year.
Yep. Yep.
It's stuff we haven't seen for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And even think about the last time Topps had a license for basketball, 09-10, they did not even release a Topps Chrome set that year. We haven't had a Topps Chrome basketball license set until 08-09, since 08-09 in basketball.
Yeah.
That was the last time. Because in 09, they mixed all of the Chrome cards in with the base cards in Topps. So it was just Topps. That's all you got. And if you got a Chrome card, it was numbered out of 999, I think it was. And then the refractors were numbered less, and then the gold and supers. So it was like super rare just to pull a single Topps Chrome card out of 09-10. Now to have a full set ready to go for 2026. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. And Michael Rubin was saying he's trying to push Cooper Flag's cards into that set.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna be. I don't know. I was kind of thinking it facetiously earlier, but I really mean it. I really do hope at some point there is. I know Upper Deck and their lifelong contract with Jordan, like they're almost an untouchable amount. And I think Panini could probably get bought at some point, especially when like they're weak and they're not making the money that they were used to. I would love to just see like when I hear this antitrust law, I reported a lot on it over the last 2 years, and when people forgot about it, I kept on bringing it to the surface. That it's such like an interesting story that people stop talking about because our hobby is largely filled with goldfish. We just like chasing the next squirrel. We just like we have no
Super
memory.
low, super short attention span. We had the biggest news of the hobby come out a week before the national about the whole autograph scandal. I thought it was going to be
I
everywhere.
didn't hear about it once in
Not a
Chicago.
peep.
Not
Not
a
a
peep.
peep. There were sellers. There were vendors with Kobe autographs with the 24 logo on the back, which is literally what the guy said they were faking. You don't even know if that's real or not. Like post Kobe's death, nobody was talking about. But I get it. It's a very short attention span. Super
Short
short.
attention span. Yeah, I don't know. I would just when I see this the antitrust law or the antitrust suit, and I see them like fighting over licenses. I'm like, guys, the only people that are losing are the people that you're trying to serve, which is the fans, right? Without the fans, there are no ultra inflated contracts. Without the fans, there's no need for these sports cards. So
Mhm.
what's really sad through all of this is like the only people that are suffering, the only people that are winning are the corporate America people fighting over the corporate America red line. Whereas the fans are just like, I don't know, what if I was a super collector of Caleb and I just wanted to see him in one Bears auto? I'm never going to
Yeah.
see it because of a weird measuring contest somewhere else in New York.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. And it's at the end of the day, it is just one giant red tape contest.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. At the end of the day, I don't really think they care though, to be quite honest, because I think that they're the hobby has shown that no matter what happens, they're going to shell out and they're going to pay for it. And we have yelled at the top of our lungs, but we have not voted with our wallets.
No,
As
because the group breakers, because
Yeah,
the group breakers that's it. It all goes back to, and it's I call this
it's just
our industry is a house of cards, and it's kind of like perfectly nuanced that way. Is if you pull one thing out, the whole thing falls. And at this point, like without group breaking, it all kind of falls. Our ecosystem needs group breaking, but like you're right, we don't have a voice, we don't have a say in any of it anymore. The collector, like we're an afterthought. Um, that's why I see like Top Hobby Rip and I get really excited because I'm like, yeah, you're finally giving back to the people that are
I like aspects of what they're doing. I like the Topps Hobby Rip Knot. I love what I the con of that is that it is you're really only going to get a good Topps Hobby Rip Night at shops that are playing by the rules
sure.
because they get the distribution from Tops. They have certain limitations to what they can and can't do with those boxes that they receive. It's they sell them for a particular price point. They sell only but by a certain date. All this stuff is pre-planned. If they go
Yeah.
outside of those lines at all, they might have had Goodell coming to their shop one week, and all of a sudden that's off the calendar. So like it's very specific. I love the idea. I love having collectors involved. I wonder who is regulating the rules, the set of rules. Who is regulating all of that when it comes to what shops are allowed to do what and what Fanatics says is good practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean now, whatever we could extend this another 3 hours.
Oh,
You want to
I
do
know.
that? I actually know the answer to that
Good.
question. I know the people who
Really?
do. Yeah, and but it's like we're in a whole new world now too, where there's like hobby shop scorecards. Like I'm not trying to take a total, you
Hobby
know,
Shop's social credit score.
it exists. It was
Yeah.
implemented. They introduced it at the last, not this one, but the year prior, the Tops convention in Atlanta. They talked about it. They're like, hey, we're going to start judging shops who get our allocation based on like cleanliness, modernization of the shop, your
Mm.
social media presence, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's so crazy. I liken it to, I wanted to get t-shirts, maybe. I'm not trying to make enemies. They know my opinion, but it's the equivalent of Coca-Cola going in and telling McDonald's how to do business.
Mm.
Instead of McDonald's being like, yeah, 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 like we have other things besides Coke, so like chill out. This is my shop.
Right.
We
Yeah.
don't need you here if you don't want to be here. But that's the stronghold they have on the industry right now, which is why our short attention spans, we're just going to take it. We're going to take whatever this transition looks like, and we're going to try to make the most of it. And that's all you can do, right? For 20
Right.
years, it's either like, okay, well, if you don't like it, get out of the hobby, or just like get on board.
Yep. And I mean, we could also, as content creators, stay true to ourselves, stay true to how we want to do content and how we want to conduct ourselves, because we're going to have, you and me and many people out there are going to have many opportunities in the coming years to compromise, many opportunities to compromise. And I think it's our jobs to stay the course and recognize when the carrot's being hung in front of our face, because I can already see it. I can already see it coming. Be quiet and you get this. Glance over this and you get like I could see some of that, because social media is the new war ground as well in the hobby, and a lot of it is driven through social media, follower counts, likes, all that stuff, shares. Now Instagram has put in reposting. That's going to be a whole new thing that we have
It's
to
gonna be a
deal with.
while. Yeah.
So it's like we're starting to see a world where brands, vendors, shops, and everything and alike in the hobby is starting to recognize that. Because think about just last year, even a couple years ago, nobody really cared about content creation. They didn't really care about getting the word out. They didn't really care about working with creators. That is starting to change. I'm telling you, it's starting to change. I'm starting to get messages, and I'm starting to talk to companies and talk to things. Starting to get more business. But I purpose to work with the people that I trust, that I work with,
Yeah.
that I. But there are going to be a lot of carrots dangled over the next few years, for sure.
Hey man, stay true to yourself. I don't know. It's so funny because I could think about, might have been like, I'm trying to remember when exactly. It was something like 2011 or 2012. Like eBay, they were very public on how they didn't care about the sports card industry and how it was an afterthought. And literally, like maybe like 2017, suddenly there's eBay collectibles, and suddenly now they're at the national convention, and now they're shaking hands and like kissing babies. Money changes people, and I appreciate you staying true to you, and I'm going to stay true to me. My respectful and tactful but honest, thoughtful opinion literally single-handed prevented me from getting a director role with Fanatics last year.
Mm.
They told me that because I wasn't like, I got all the way to the very end of this. Is a long story for another day, but I got all the way to the last interview with the last the president in this one particular arm of their business, and I was just very forthright. They're asking questions, and I was like, yeah, this is what I would do differently, because like I'd focus on the collector, and this is what's wrong, and I didn't get that call back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen similar stuff. So there was a guy at the Shark Tank, and I know we're running out of time, so I'll do this real quick. So
Yeah.
at Shark Tank, there was a guy who walked in and he was making something for farmers. I forget exactly what it was. Small little item, saved farmers a ton of time, and he was selling it super cheap. The Sharks were very interested in it, and obviously they have good intentions, but they have to make a ton of money. And so they said, we would like that, but we want you to charge $2 or $3 more per unit. And he said, he was dumbfounded. He said, I can't do that.
It was a water irrigation unit. I know exactly what episode you're talking about.
Yep. And he's basically saying, like, I'm not going to compromise the farmers, because I'm here for them. I want them
Here
to
for the
to make
farmer.
their money. I want them to do well. Mr. Wonderful is like, can't, well then I can't do business with you. You need to increase the price of it. And he's like, well, maybe by $1, or so. He's like trying to like pre-negotiate to keep the. I understand that same type of mindset. When you have the right mindset, that doesn't get you to the top of the ladder, but it gets you respect, and you're able to keep your morals, and you're able to keep your dignity, and you're able to be a good person. And at the end of the day, that's what I strive. That's what I strive for.
Yeah, what it comes down to, and I've seen this a lot. I've seen a lot of good content creators come and go. I've seen a lot of people come into instant success and then diminish. What we're talking about is running your race will help you run a marathon and not a sprint. Like I've been on YouTube since 2008, and I'm still here today. And it's not because I was distracted by noise. It's because I'm running my race and I've stuck to my brand. And like that's what you got to do. The people that are, I don't know, I'm not name dropping here, but I'm just saying there's some people that aren't made for the distance, and we'll find that out in the next couple of years, especially when there's a lot of shifting sands happening. And as normalization post pandemic continues to play out, it's going to be a little less sexy. It's going to be a little less sexy. The prices aren't, like the ability to rip a card and turn it into a six figure. It's going to become less and less and less prevalent. And we'll see. The people that are running the race will still be around reporting on it, and the people that aren't are going to be like working for private equity. Who knows?
Yeah, private equity, that's good. And then the less sexy it gets, the more marketing you need. There's a direct correlation.
Sure.
Less sexy, the more you need to market it. So
Yeah.
that's what you're starting to see. There's a normalization in the market. People aren't just buying things just to buy them. There's products still on the shelves at Walmart and Target. People aren't just going and wiping them
That's
out anymore.
wild. Yeah, what a culture shift from it being like retail used to be trash and made fun of, and you would never see retail in a hobby shop. It was
Mhm.
sacrilegious. It was like the most unheard of thing. And now it's like, well, they got to have it in the shop to make it an approachable price point for somebody.
Yep.
You're right. It's so weird to be like, it was trash. You can't keep it on the shelf, and now it's everywhere again.
Yep. Now it's everywhere again. Your optics, even your prisms, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing normalized, and I'm here for it. I
I
want it to
love
normalize.
it.
If it stays up here, if we never left 2021, the hobby would have crashed by now.
Oh
It
yeah.
worse than it did before. It was so unsustainable. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, think about
I'm here for it.
if you're trying to bring in new investors into this space, they don't want to come to a space that's high volatility. And we will have volatility based on like hype and how a player's doing and yada yada yada. But it's like I'm here for the normalization. I'm here for the long run. I tell people all the time too, there's a lot of gloom and doom when it comes to conversations like this. And I'm like, tell me another industry um, that has survived 150 years, grown year over year, survived all the world wars, survived the pandemics, the recessions, the depressions. I'll wait because there's none.
Right. Yeah. And
But
we
there's really
just we
not.
just saw record monthly sales overall. I think it was like what 308 million for just last month in
Insane.
like total hobby sales just across all platforms and
And that's what's across all platforms. You go to shows, you see the amount of like, I remember my first national 2012 Chicago. I remember seeing somebody pull like $10,000 out of their pocket, and I was like, "Whoa! Like, who is this Dom boss?" And
commonplace.
like,
You
and
got
now
12-year-olds pulling 10K out of their backpack
oh,
now.
you're not even kidding. To see people with like a Michael Kors backpack with 300K large in it is weirdly common now. I
Yep.
don't understand it, but like, I don't.
Phones, cameras, and bands are very common now at shows, and they let's just say they weren't a while ago.
That's right. We'll see. When it's less sexy, we'll go back to it being approachable, sustainable. And I'm here for innovation. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of innovation that came out of the pandemic and then newer people that jumped into the space. But I am ready for the maybe the FOMO and the chasing of squirrels, and I'm ready for that to slow down. And that's going back to what brings us closer to the game and brings us back to some of my favorite parts of being from the other side of the counter at a card show is like just hearing the stories and knowing where a card came from or like that you met the player or whatever. Like I'm going back to that versus like it was hard for me this last national because it was the first time ever I worked a booth and I worked a booth that happened to be I do marketing on the side as a side hustle for me. That's based out of Indiana, Best Card Shop. And I was set up at, they had a booth. I was in the Breakers Pavilion because as an arm of their, they have a local card shop. It's a very nice shop in Playfield, Indiana. And one of their arms of their business is Best Card Breaks. And they have an app and it's proprietary to them. And it was just soul crushing. It was just soul crushing because it was like, oh, the collectors aren't in this room. Like the gamblers are in this room. The people who
Yep.
are looking for like free break credit to like
People
jump.
yelling and screaming and going
Yeah, they're
crazy.
next. And I was just like that. And that's not their brand either. They're a very family forward company. And I was just like, I felt so out of place. I was like, I just wish I was in the room with cards.
Upstairs. It was upstairs.
But even
It
in
was
the,
it
the
was a
main room,
great.
like Indie
Yeah.
Card Exchange and RBI Crew and all those guys, like people I've known since the day they got the keys to their shop. And I'm like, I would have much rather been like in that room with people
Mhm.
walking around with their case, talking about cards, looking at cards. It'll be interesting. In the House of Cards ecosystem, it's all necessary. Like the grading, the flipping, the repacks, it's all necessary. But I hope to see more normalization balance come out in upcoming years.
Right. Yeah, for sure, man. I love how this turned into like state of the hobby when we started with the licensing. That's just how it works with the podcast, man. We chop it up about the hobby. You just keep switching topics, going through. I love it, man.
Too easy. It's too easy.
It is too easy. That just shows it. You and I we've been doing this for a long time. How long have you been collecting? I've been collecting since I was 6, so like probably like 23 years now.
I was 5. I'm a little older than you. I'm 38, so 33.
Oh, you didn't have to say. I can cut that out if you want me to.
Okay, I'm not ashamed of my age. I joke that I say I'm 38, my hair's 83. It's very gray. I've earned every single strand of that. So
That's wisdom, man. I'm getting a few gray hairs somewhere in
oh, yeah.
there. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
catch them every now and again.
No.
But
So now it's cool that now I get to look at it and to be a good steward of the hobby and to pass this on to the next generation. And I take that very, very, very seriously. So I'm happy that we've met and we get to talk and you do as well. And it'll be cool.
yeah, absolutely, man. I saw Sasquatch right here, Ryan Curtis. Really appreciate you hopping on the pod,
That's
and
it.
I'm looking forward to maybe talking to you again sometime in the future, man.
Heck yeah.